Hey folks, it's Michael with the CCERP podcast, Cypress Creek Ecological Restoration Project. Today we are on our fourth episode, third interview. Um, Today we're going to talk with the local about using the trails, the benefit he gets from them, why he likes them, things like that. So we're going to talk to someone that some people hate, many people love and appreciate, the great, the one and only, the unique Scott Dammitt. Hey Scott, how's it going?
Hey, Michael, pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Cool. It's good to talk to you like this. So, yeah, as I said, we want to talk about our creek, the trails, the nature area. Get a personal view about using them and appreciate them and all that. So, could you tell folks about yourself?
Well, sure. I guess I would start and say that I've always loved nature. I've always loved bikes,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of came together for me in 2009 when I started riding bike trails and really enjoying being around friends and riding with my brother and stuff like that. So it just kind of grew from there, and you appreciate something for so long, and then you kind of feel the urge to give back and start to, put back into the environment.
Yeah.
So started there, and I started organizing, what started out as, trail work parties, builds and stuff like that, improving, the land and maintaining it as we use it. And then sort of developed into a social thing, and now it's kind of exploded, in at least in this area where we have tons of people showing up for both work parties and group rides, and all the local shops want to be a part of the movement that's going on.
Cool. Yeah.
It's just
Sweet.
really exciting.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I kind of know what you mean with some of that. I was exercising, running trails, carrying logs on my shoulder and all this for a long time. Then it sounds like it's kind of the same. One day I'm out there and I'm all of a sudden like, wait, I'm a stranger to this place. I don't know this. I'm like, it's alien. I feel like an alien from some other planet. And so I started looking at foraging and tracking, and from there, of course, getting into zoology and botany and biology and ecology, and one thing leads to another. Pretty cool. Taking care of the area.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so for the last, I've been picking up trash out there for years, but been doing it seemingly every day for the last like 2 or 3 months. But um, how long is now? What's the name of the bike group that you have?
Cypress Creek MTB, and we call it CCMTB for short.
Yeah, and it's on Facebook. Does it have a website?
Yeah, we have ccmtb.us, but really that's just to link you back to the Facebook group. It's where all the discussions and community activities occur,
Cool.
where we have the events for work parties and group rides, and we're doing. If I could cover some of that, we're doing this
Hmm.
coming Saturday. We're having REI come out to demo their rental fleet, so it won't cost the rider anything. They just show up with an ID and a means of securing a deposit like a credit card, and they'll let you ride the bike for free for 30, 45 minutes. You really get a good feel for the bike on some rough terrain, and instead of just around the parking lot.
Cool.
And they have their bikes for rent at the Willowbrook store,
Hmm.
so anyone can go in there
Nice.
and check those out. Next Saturday we're doing
And for folks
a
like
work
who's listen,
party.
sorry, for folks who listen in the future, today's December 5th. So what? Today's Friday? I forgot.
Today's Thursday, December
There's
5th,
okay.
2019.
Thank you. Okay, so December 7th, 2019, you're having the REI thing,
Yep.
and
And then
then
next Saturday, December 14th, we're having a work party where there's one of our hills, which all of our ground here is made up of basically sand. And sand doesn't hold too well together. There's no rocks involved. So one of the hills that we ride has eroded over the years, and we're actually going to put some rocks in there
hmm,
um, to hold hold it in place
Mm-hmm.
and make it safe for everyone to enjoy.
And that's an interesting for folks. The reason we have sand here is because this was, like I think if I remember right, an alluvial plain for a washout from the glaciers from the Rocky Mountains and thereabouts. So it's like tens of thousands of years old. And it's on top of some clay. It's about 250,000. But what's a cool thing about our area that I find fascinating. But cool. So any other upcoming events that folks might be interested in?
On the 21st, we've got a ugly sweater group ride, and that's a beginner-friendly, no-drop group ride. So everyone's welcome, especially kids. Hopefully, it will be cool enough to keep your sweater on, and at least we hope so. Hope to have a good time. We'll probably have some snacks and refreshments after the event, and just kind of hang out with everybody and enjoy the weather while we have it this cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Hopefully some folks in some other cities might hear this too. And I know in other cities they already have some stuff like this. Maybe some people can have some new things, new groups that take care of the trails, enjoy them, take care of nature, have good rules of the road, have a lot of these social events as you do. Like, it's nice to see people out there biking. Because, on the Facebook group, people announce when they're going to go on rides and get together, right?
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of community stuff involved there too. We've kind of loosened the reins a little bit to where we're allowing people to ask for, like, hey, is anyone in the community providing a certain service? Like, does anyone do sheetrock? And so we're kind of allowing that little mini community to develop and become stronger. So it's not just folks with bikes. It's not just folks who walk the trails, but it's also neighbors and friends and folks that really want to get involved in a community in an online space.
Mm-hmm. And then it's a nice group from what I've heard. I haven't witnessed it myself because I haven't been on some of these others, but I've heard that the bikers around here generally are better at being friendly, following the rules of the road, yelling biker, whereas even in Houston, I think from what I heard, some other places that they don't do that. So that's a nice thing about this area. Polite, friendly, courteous, share the trails, enjoy and share.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's challenges at every trail around town, but I think that we really have a good grasp on just being nice to people and realizing that, like, this is although we have worked very hard to build up and improve what we have so far, and we definitely make it a better place for everyone. We have no ownership to the trails, and we are just one user group. So we really try, first of all, to share with everyone and to respect the right of way that walkers and horses have. And dog walkers and such like that. So those are the folks that are really driving the courtesy between the trail groups. And I think that you hit it spot on where some other areas of town maybe don't have that that relationship.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But we work hard for that.
Yeah. And then it's good to have that relationship, and then people can work together. So we might have some people that walk their dogs or just walk, and they might come out for some trail work. And I mean, in a sense, kind of they should, so to speak, because it's helping take care of the trails, and a lot of the trails wouldn't be there if it weren't for y'all. So horse people should get out and help. Walkers, other than that,
and that's really kind of how we got started too. After, I think it was Ike, a lot of trees were falling down.
When was
or
Ike?
Had fallen down.
What year was that?
I'd have to look that up, but it was. I would say.
Keep talking, and I'll look it up while you're.
I know that. Yeah, I know that I started doing more work and fixing trails up and stuff around 2011.
Okay, it was 2008.
Around that time. Sorry.
It was 2008, Hurricane 8.
Okay, and I know that after 2008 we had a huge drought right after that.
Oh, so, yeah, it was bad.
With all the trees that had fallen, by the time I came around, these trails were basically just ignored. And they had a pretty derogatory nickname, which I'm not going to repeat. But it wasn't exactly, a destination spot.
Oh, it
So I
would have been
started
better for me though.
organizing.
Like for someone like me who likes to run the trails and exercise, man, that would have been like a
Uh,
heaven, jumping
oh
over
yeah,
trees and all this stuff. Yeah,
especially with the move nap stuff that you do. Like it was really like an obstacle course.
yeah.
So many fallen trees.
Either
And
way,
I
yeah.
started around, yeah, I started around 2011, organizing, folks, getting people together, and then in 2012 we created the Facebook group, which has
Hmm.
just been, an outpouring of support, and really has grown to be one of the biggest MTB online communities around town. So
Cool.
it's very rewarding to see that grow, and knowing that we can call upon those folks to come out and help at a moment's notice, or we try to give everybody a couple weeks so that they can
Hmm.
plan ahead and make sure to attend. But sometimes I might just need one or two people to help out, and it's always nice to be able to reach out and have someone show up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd like to get out there some,
And
but sometimes I'm busy, farmers market. Then I'm focusing on this trash stuff. So,
yeah.
but
And another thing I'd like to mention is that we support a lot of the trail features that we build and fix. They do require cost. They require materials. They require
yeah,
logistics to get the materials on site. They require lots of tools. We raise funds by selling T-shirts, stickers, hats, jerseys, any number of things. We actually have some power bank batteries right now that we're selling. So those are all available on the Facebook group.
cool. Yeah,
We have we're set up for Zelle, PayPal, and all that good stuff.
and I'll put a link in the show notes to the Facebook group so folks can find it easier. And then you welcome. Not everyone who joins has to be like a bicycler, right?
Absolutely not. It's there for everyone. Neighbors, walkers, dog walkers, joggers. It's just a spot where we can all meet up.
Yeah, it's a good place for people to see. Okay, it's not just bikers, but what's going on to take care of the trails? How can I help? Um, Anybody can help
Right.
out, take care of the trails. That's a good thing. Or socialize, have a barbecue. Like, okay, I'm going to meet some bikers in the area that I see when I'm walking my dog. So, hey, I'm going to like host a barbecue or something.
Yeah,
And
we also post up all the event. We create events for all of the work days and most of the big group ride uh, scheduled events in the events tab. So folks can know when those are coming. We usually promote them pretty heavily in the days leading up to the work parties, just to let everybody know, because
mhm.
just the way that the Facebook logarithm acts, it doesn't allow everyone to see everything.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Continually promote it and put it in everyone's feed so they can see when it comes.
And so yeah, we got bicyclers out there, people who walk, people who run, people who walk their dogs. Oh, and I've even seen at one time a family who walked their cat. That was awesome. Maybe I think after Harvey, I haven't seen them, so maybe they moved after Hurricane Harvey. But um, it was like a family of four, mother, father, I think two kids, if I remember right, maybe son and daughter, and they had a cat that would walk along with them, um, just follow him. That was pretty cool. I wish I would have taken
Yeah,
a picture or something.
that that to me is like one of the greatest things about the trails is how it brings families together.
Yeah.
Realizing the folks that live nearby, they have such a great amenity. Um, we don't build anything that can't be walked over. There's always a bypass for everything, even for the beginner riders.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, like we mentioned about the common courtesy we have towards everybody that uses the trails, or at least we try to. That's not going to be 100% of us. There's jerks
Oh
in
yeah,
every
yeah.
group of people.
That's one
So,
thing I was going to point out. Yeah,
uh,
yeah. And then
but yeah,
there's
we definitely want to get everybody involved. And one of the main motivating factors for me in working on the trails is to help seeing families together and enjoying nature together, and seeing the parents teach the kids, and watching those big bright eyes, when they're meeting people or see people's pets, or see wildlife out there. It's just amazing.
yeah. And then really quickly, I don't like it's a kind of hate to say it because it's such a great topic, but before we go on, I want to say yeah, like there's people who bike out there who aren't associated with CCMTB, and some of them can be jerks. And in every group, as you say, most CCMTBers are great, but of course there's some jerks like in any other group. And same thing with some walkers or some runners. And I know there's one guy or two out there who's like really, really weird and does things around 7 in the morning that he should keep to himself. But
okay.
Hopefully
there's all types, right?
Yeah.
There have been a few cases, isolated cases of someone, showing too much of themselves. There have been, but we have, excuse me, we have a lot of people that are also out on the trails.
Yeah.
It's not a dangerous place to be. There's a lot of your neighbors and, other folks in the community. Most of the mountain bikers are definitely, the kind of stand up and defend, our fellow trail users.
Very much. And that's another reason to be on the groups. You know some of them personally, so you can say hi. You can call them. Hey, I'm out here. I need some help.
Yeah, and I've been in that situation before. I wrecked my bike pretty bad one time. I got bit by a dog another time. We were actually in the middle of the road trying to rescue the dog, and it got scared and bit me. And I needed some help. But it was great to have a resource to ask somebody to come out and help. But
yeah, true. Mm-hmm.
I think for the most part, we try to keep it pretty safe just because we have the volume of people out there. The neighbors, the bike riders. There's almost always somebody out there riding. And if someone needs help, we'll definitely make a call or have someone come out and help. One thing that new trail users might notice as they're going down the trails, at the very beginning of most of the trailheads, we have a post in the ground with the trail name on it. So if something does happen down that trail, that would be one easy way that emergency services would know how to reach you where you are.
Very good point.
So please take note of those trail names.
Then everybody who uses the trails should know about CCMTB, because you got a map of the trails and you got names of them, so they can see where they are, what the name of the trail is, describe their position to a person or to emergency personnel.
So there's a couple of ways. First of all, there's a map up at the kiosk at the parking lot that's on the end of West Cypress Forest. The other thing is I do have printed out maps that I pass out with more information about our parent organization, GORBA, Greater Houston Off-Road Bike Association, and how they help us get the funds for the trail features and stuff that we build out there. So I pass those out pretty frequently. If I see somebody new or if I see somebody looking at the map on the kiosk, I'll go ahead and give them one. And then the other way folks can find their way around is through several different fitness tracking apps like MTB Project or Trail Run Project, or my particular favorite is Trail Forks, because Trail Forks will actually show you the map, show you the name of the trail that you're on, show you where you've been, and then show you how to get back if you don't know where you are.
And what are those three again that you mentioned? I'll put them in the show notes for folks.
The Trail Run Project, MTB Project, and Trail Forks.
Okay, Trail Forks. Got it. Cool. I'll put that in the show notes. Yeah. And then, the more people are out there, the more eyes and the less weirdos. We can keep an eye on it for each other and keep it safe and law-abiding and
absolutely
everything. And then, have a cell phone with you so you can call or take pictures of video or something you need to. Here's my leg, or here's a weirdo or whatever, and send it in.
Sure.
And have a local...
And then one other thing just in line with everybody staying safe out there is just to make sure that when you're out enjoying the trails, either running or riding or whatever you'd like to do, just make sure that you can hear your environment.
True. Yeah.
Someone wants to pass you, or I know it's great to have the modern technology of headphones and streaming your music through your phone and all that. It is a a good thing to add to the environment, but just make sure that you're aware of your surroundings. I've seen a lot of runners and joggers where I've been able to sneak right up on them, and as I'm trying to pass, and they just, I wish everybody was just a little bit more aware.
Yeah, it's happened to me. I'm out running, and there's someone walking up ahead or running, and I'm like, coming on your left, and they don't do anything. Coming on your left, and then you go by them, and they're surprised and they're scared. It's like, and if you want to listen to music or something, use one earpiece, leave the other out so you can hear.
Yeah, I actually really like, some of these folks have, or some of these new headphones are these bone induction earphones, and they don't cover your ears so you can still hear everything outside.
Cool. Huh.
But they're kind of expensive. So given what we have to work with, either leave one out or have the volume low enough to where you can hear someone call out to you.
And my recommendation is just don't use them at all. We need more quiet. If you look into the scientific literature, quiet is very, very important. Yeah, and listening to nature.
Absolutely, and I really love the sound of the forest. The birds, the squirrels. It's just it adds a layer of relaxation for me and therapy as well.
And lets you be real. Lets you learn to focus on your surroundings. Learn to get the information implicit in the sounds or the quiet and the shadows and the landscape when you got the headphones on.
And live in the moment.
Yeah. You got to be real.
Focus on the moment.
And then if you pay more attention to that stuff, it'll help you in other situations where you're in a crowd of people. Because as like Steve Irwin said, like in Crocodile, one movie he was in, I forgot. He and his wife, he said a sentiment I agree with. I had said it before, and I'm glad to hear him say it. He said he'd rather be around wild animals than he would around many people. Some people are great, but it's people, not animals, that came up with the Holocaust and World War II and blah blah blah, and So,
right.
Not to knock people, but just to knock too many we've had in history, unfortunately. But so, and then I think runners and dog walkers and horseback riders too would be good to yell out. Like runner, walker, dog, horse rider or whatever, just horse coming around corners, so people walking or people on bikes can know. It shouldn't just be the bikers that are calling out.
Yeah, and just to add one more thing about knowing what's around your environment, I when you talk about these large animals like a horse or something, I've never snuck up on a horse or never had a horse sneak up on me because if you're really paying attention, you can smell them.
Oh, yeah. Wow, nice.
I saw a big old, probably a 14-point buck very early one morning a couple of years ago, and
wow.
I could smell him for about 500 yards.
Wow,
and
interesting.
I tell you, I'm glad I was moving when I saw him, because I didn't know at that point. I'm sure I kind of caught him by surprise, and I wasn't sure if he was going to charge me or just stand there. But he was just beautiful and majestic, and it was just
wow.
just a spirit of the forest. It was just an amazing experience. But yeah, I'm glad I was moving, because that really I think helped him make his decision that he didn't have to chase me because I was already moving away.
Cool. And that was 14-point buck in our area?
Yes.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, it was on what we call the connector trail, right underneath the railroad tracks.
Huh. Wow.
Huge buck.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I love that we got that in our area. That's like a benefit. I know someone who used to live along Cypress Creek, and he's in Cypress, and he's moved to a different part of town. I think he's been in some other cities, and he says that nowhere else in Houston do you have what we have along Cypress Creek, that kind of nature and wildlife, and he thinks it's maybe even not in any other city.
Yeah, and that's got to be the number one reason that I've lived in Houston all my life, and I've experienced just about every part of town that's out there, and I've just always loved that about Cypress, because we're right on the edge of civilization. We've got all the shopping and convenience amenities, but there's also a bit of country. There's a lot of green spaces. There's pastures and what I think of like a lot of homegrown businesses. There's nowhere else really that, like Sugarland is great, but it seems like everything there is franchised and fabricated and manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of other parts of town are like that, whereas I think Cypress is unique because it has this old town history. You have the railroad that came through here for so many years. You have so many beautiful green spaces. Bayouland Conservancy has three different preserves just in the Cypress area. They have the 100-acre wood. They have the Little Creek Preserve, and there's another one that I don't think has a name behind the Little Cypress Creek Preserve on the other side of the creek. But there's just tons of amenities here, without really sacrificing. You can still run to Home Depot in 10 minutes, and there's farm pastures just on the other side. You know what I mean? It's just a really great area, and I think that most of the people that live here, no matter how long they've lived here, kind of get that feel for it. It's got that small town feel.
Yeah.
And just the abundance of nature that's very close to all these mass-produced neighborhoods. It's still like makes me feel like I'm, in the country, or in an older time.
Yeah, I love having the nature there. Right nearby, you can get out, and I can go places where I don't see anybody for hours, and it's like no road traffic or anything. Sometimes no airplanes, just totally quiet. And finding that kind of thing outdoors in nature is like hard in this kind of urban city environment, most anywhere, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult, and I've traveled all over the country doing, either for business or for riding bikes or for whatever vacations, and there's just not another place that's quite as urban but also as country as Cypress is, and I just like the way that is.
Yeah. So we ought to take care of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone that we get involved in, that's why a lot of the reason why I work so hard, not only on the trails, but to promote the trails, is just that, understanding the more people that we have that are interested in these areas and understand their value and understand the value of the ecology that survives there, will be more people that we can use to protect this place.
Yeah, right.
And keep those, keep those green spaces available for the generations to come.
Yeah, that's one thing why I started like CCERP. As I said, I've been out here for years and picked up trash, but I finally submitted and yielded to the fact that I can't clean up the whole creek myself, and I'm not going to be around forever, and I love it so much that I'd like other people to take care of it when I'm gone,
Right. Well, and in a lot of senses, that's very similar to how CCMTB got started.
Cool.
It was basically a few of us that were just out on our own time doing a little work here and there, maybe make a jump or dig some drainage or something like that. And it became, we'd start to see each other's work, and a few of us met,
Would you leave your initials with a chainsaw? You cut down a tree, you did SD.
No, you just.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you just come around a corner and there's a new berm there, or you come across an area and someone trimmed that tree, and we just started interacting together more and meeting each other on the trails, and hey, I had this idea, and starting to work together, and then we created it probably was like that for maybe a year or two, and then we created CCMTB, and really the goal there was we need to get all our voices together in one place. We need to get all our advocates that, everybody that enjoys this place, we need to team up together, because some changes were happening. Bayouland Conservancy was taking over the area now known as the 100-acre wood, and there was activity from the county, there was activity from P4 parks, and there was activity from flood control, and there were all these different entities that were trying to shape what was going to happen to this area, and we wanted to be one of those entities. And so we teamed up first with BLC. We got helped them to understand what we did and what we were about.
Cool.
And how, and integrated Gorba into it, and explained to them that we had, standards and ways and methods and funding to do the things that we wanted to do, which helped us, develop that relationship. And then with a certain amount of time, we were able to get, the landowner parties to agree that these trails are an amenity, and that they agreed with the way and the manner in which we maintained them and the stuff that we worked on. And so we went from being basically completely just an ignored piece of, space, to bringing it into like a sanctioned by the county, sanctioned by Bioland Conservancy amenity for the community.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks.
And it's become really, like a destination for people all around Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love these trails.
And the whole start of that was just the concept that many hands do more work.
Mm-hmm.
And we could get a lot more work done with team effort than we could ever hope to imagine by ourselves.
Yeah, I love that the trails are natural, dirt, no asphalt, no concrete, no rubber tires chopped up. It's beautiful. Keeps it real.
Yeah, we always wanted to maintain natural materials. There are some wood features,
mm-hmm.
Lumber features, I should say, just because of the availability and the feasibility to do something out of wood is a lot easier than, if we were to go buy raw wood and have it done that way.
Yeah, and you need it for more bridge. I mean, there'd be no.
Yeah.
The bikers would have to ride through sand at the bottom of a ravine to make it through there. And,
well, before we built that bridge, people just rode all the way down to the end of the spillway and came back.
Yeah, thought so.
And we saw an opportunity for something exciting. Yeah. And so we went ahead and planned it, mapped it, and all that was history.
And that's a nice feature. And while we're on that Pink Diamond, forgot some of the others, but if people get on CCMTB and ask about the level of some of those, it'd be very helpful so you don't get hurt, or look at the color of the signs, because we talked about the names of the trails, but
absolutely,
what are the colors that you have to mark trails, and what do the colors mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, it's based upon the same concept as how they rate ski trails, and
cool.
And IMBA does the same thing. So a green trail means that it's going to be flat. It can be wider, very easy, no challenge or no features. So on a green trail, we may still have some features, but they will either be off to the side or there will be a bypass. So we still consider that a green. The blue trail is going to be something that has some more technical features. Probably most of the blue trails there's a significant amount of climbing, so it's not flat. Most of those still do have a bypass, but we consider them a green. Or I'm sorry, we consider those more intermediate trails a blue.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are a couple of features in our trails that we consider black. Black consideration means no bypass. It's a very technical feature. It requires a significant amount of skill in order to overcome. And so we like to put those warnings up so that folks understand what the risk is.
What are the different colors?
Folks can understand the
Go ahead,
green, blue, and black.
Okay, just those three? No pink or red or anything? Okay. All right, sorry, go ahead.
No, Pink Diamond is kind of a joke because it seems like every trail around the Houston area has something called Black Diamond, and they never live up to the rating.
Okay.
And so we kind of made a joke about, okay, it's not a black feature, but let's say it's a dark blue, but we're just going to call it Pink Diamond to make a joke out of it.
That's funny.
Because it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm. But folks do want to be careful and take some of that seriously. I think for most people, because of how PE is in school and the gym and everyday life, they've lost contact with risk assessment. And learning risk assessment is a very important reason to get out, especially for kids. They learn what they're capable of and what they're not. They learn confidence, very important. But be careful, because if you're not ready for some of this stuff, you can get hurt, and it's happened. I think one person on Moore Bridge, if I remember right, some runner, older guy, I think he broke his leg there, and some lady, it might have been Pink Diamond around there, was out bicycling with her kids, and I think she fell and broke her leg, had to have EMS get out there on four-wheelers.
Yeah, a number of incidents have happened, folks on bikes and not on bikes, and it's unfortunate, but it is a part of, being outside and taking those risks. And you bring up a good point about folks need to make sure to assess that risk ahead of time. Every single one of the features that are out there are completely walkable. Sometimes there's a bypass that may be a little bit longer. But the other thing to consider is, especially early in the morning when the dew is out, that some of those wooden features could be slick, and have to take that into consideration before traversing any of those.
Yeah, and then it's overall still safer than driving in your car. I'd rather be out there on the trails
Absolutely.
running around than because on the trail you know what's going to happen and you're in control. On the road, you never know what's going to hit you, what's going to run a stoplight, what kind of craziness is next to you. All kinds of things can happen that change
Absolutely.
you forever beyond a broken leg. So much safer. And as I say, you're learning how to control risk. And people ought to think, it's not like walking or doing nothing versus doing this dangerous thing. Do logical progressions. Give yourself time to do easier features and build up. Think about what you can do to prepare for the more difficult thing, like ride your bicycle. If you want to get into a jump like 3 inches, jump 6 inches, see how it feels, work it out, get up to a foot, build up to 2 or 3 feet. But do it slow and smart. Don't just do it out of nowhere without preparation and get hurt. Logical progressions matter. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I usually recommend folks, and almost all of our jumps are rollable. There are some that don't yet have landings, and that's typically part of the process, is to build the jump part of it, see where riders are landing, and then start to build up that landing. And a lot of times we just make everything rollable, so even if you don't want to jump, you can roll over it. But you always want to check and make sure beforehand, make sure that there's a landing there for you. And then a lot of times what I tell people is just to roll it at first, and then just gradually go just a little bit faster and faster as your comfort and confidence build. And then, pretty soon you'll be landing on the backside. And it just feels great when you hit a jump just right and your tires just smoothly hit the landing and it shoots you just a little bit faster, and it just feels great to be in the air. And
yeah,
that's speaking from personal experience, at least.
And same thing with the incline declines, going through the ditches. Some people, as I say, they've broken their leg there, and I know there have been a few times where I've had to save someone, or I've seen someone fall. Even 2 or 3 days ago, I was out, and someone went down an incline and up an incline and fell over. Thankfully, he seemed to roll out of it pretty well. So I told him, good fall. And at first he didn't understand it. So I had to say, no, I don't mean the fall, I mean the way you rolled. That was good.
Yeah. And that's the important thing. I think people get hurt when they try to hold on to it too long or try to keep from falling. And I think really what folks should do is aim for where they want to land and how they want to land, and try for the most part to get untangled from the bike, or untangled from any roots or anything like that. And obviously try to land on your butt so you don't hit your head and things like that. A lot of those blue trails that require a lot of climbing, that go up and down a lot, those can be navigated pretty easily if the person has enough confidence to allow the speed roll through the the bottom, and then it'll propel you most of the way through the climb.
Yeah.
And so that's just one of those confidence building things. I've taught many people, what we typically do on the group rides is when we encounter one of those features, I'll be the leader and I'll run through, I'll show everybody how to do it. And then I put my bike down and I go stand by it to help people that maybe don't make it quite all the way up and catch them, keep them from falling, like more bridge, for instance.
Yeah. So yeah, it's something where people can do logical progressions, do a shallower kind of bowl, so to speak. Don't do a steeper decline and incline. Do shallower, do small, because you got to get used to how it feels, what the experience is, how fast you need to be going, the torque on the bike.
How to balance yourself on the bike.
Yeah, better word, balance. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
So many different things, to think about when you're doing something like that. And that's another one of the great things about the trail is that we have we have shorter when we have some hills that are only 2 or 3 feet. We have some that are 6 and some that are, 15, and it just, you get a really good, diversity of being able to step your skill level up. So there's some small things you can try at first, and there's larger and more confidence building things, and more of that is to come.
Good.
We're going to do something called a skinny, which is basically just a long balance beam board that and it'll be very, very low to the ground, so there's not really a lot of punishment when you fall. You just step off the bike, but helps you practice balance and helps you keep straight on that line. And it's a skill that all of us need, no matter what level. We'll all use it.
Yeah, and one thing I like to tell people, as I say, I do MoveNet, teach people that, but one person I know, I don't remember how old she was, 12, 15. She was dared to jump off a 12-foot wall, and so she did. And then she was in the hospital for 3 weeks. Not very smart.
Ouch.
Yeah. But if she had been trained, it would have been perfectly fine, and she could have done it. Like some people can jump off a 12-foot wall more safely than a lot of people can walk down the street or down the stairs. But you got to do those slow, logical progressions and be patient and disciplined and know that you're like everyone else. It's a cause-effect process you got to go through to get mastery. Just like Coach Summer, an Olympic gymnastics coach, he makes his people do 3-month segments, and some of them, his athletes, might be begging to go on. I got this down. This is boring. I'm going to go on. And he knows that it's only when they're finally bored with it that they have it down so well that they can go on. And he knows it takes time for mastery. You should be able to go through something 100 or 500 times so it sinks into your nervous system and your brain and becomes second nature. And then you're ready to move on to something more difficult. Because if you don't have down like a 6-inch thing, trying to push it to 1 foot, you're not ready for it. You don't got the habits set in your whole nervous system and your reactions and your balance and everything. So go slow. Like the girl should have done, roll on the ground, jump from a foot up, jump from 2 feet, jump from 5 feet, 500 times, jump from 7 feet, 500 times. Then finally get up to 12. Same thing with the bicycling. We need to discipline ourselves and train. And that'll help teach our children better. So, stuff we can use in all kinds of different areas of life.
Yeah. You literally have to learn before you can walk.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so, they're great trails. We just got to make sure we know how to use them. Just like using a knife. Maybe you don't want a kid to use a sharp knife. You wait till they're a little more older and responsible and can do things, and then you practice and become a chef, and you can do all. Or some chefs, they're tossing the knives hand to hand and chopping stuff up, and it just takes practice.
Absolutely.
How long have you been out here in this area? Sorry, what? Go ahead.
I moved in. No. It's fine. I moved in 2004. It was about 2 years after I got out of the Marine Corps,
Oh, cool.
and I've never really wanted to live anywhere else since I moved here.
Hmm. Yeah, I've thought about it at one time, but um, after I started getting out on these trails and learning what I had and appreciating them and falling in love with them, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't think I want to move anywhere else. Cool. What kind of changes have you seen through the years in the trails in the area?
Well, in the area specifically, I would say sadly that there's a lot fewer green spaces.
Hmm.
You know, um, it seems like almost every week I'm seeing a patch of woods getting torn down to build a shopping center or apartment complex or
Yeah, it's too bad.
a business.
It'll go out of business
And
eventually.
and I just wish, and at the same time, you still see like a lot of vacant business areas, and you just wish that people would, use what we have and try to make it work.
Hmm.
Eventually, we'll probably be, more like Europe, where there's not really any green spaces except parks, and it seems kind of sad to me,
Yeah, very. Yeah,
But
I wish I had a bunch of money so I
on the
could
other,
buy up a bunch of land. I wish I was a billionaire so I could buy
oh
up
yeah.
all the land along Cypress Creek, like 100 to 200 yards out, and just keep it natural and allow people to go on it. That'd be
Well, that's
beautiful.
that's actually one of the missions of Bayou Land Conservancy is
Cool.
they're out there acquiring these pieces of property that have a creek or bayou waterfront so that they can protect the water quality
Mm,
and protect the green spaces that are close to the waterways.
yeah.
So they have preserves along Cypress Creek, Little Cypress Creek, Greens Bayou. They have several down. They have a big one in Deer Park down south, which is
Hmm.
a prairie, the Deer Park Prairie.
Oh, nice. Hmm.
So they have like stuff along Spring Creek. They're the anchor sponsor of the Greenbelt Trails up there, and so interconnecting all of these waterway spaces, along the creek, along all the creeks.
And then, yeah, folks, like when you get out, then you see what's out there and you appreciate it more. Like, um, they might just think it's some like academic water quality thing we're talking about, but people take their dogs out there to swim in it and drink it. That's important. There are fish in there. We got mussels and clam out there. We actually have like freshwater shrimp. I didn't know that till I found a little tide pool left after Hurricane Harvey, and when it dried up, I found this like I don't know half-inch long or so inch long like little thing and took a picture and it was identified on iNaturalist for me as freshwater shrimp. So they were like out here
Huh.
too. And then we got the
Interesting.
yeah. Yeah. Now that I thought about that, I'll put like a link in the show notes. Um, I'll have to look that up on my iNaturalist thing. Put a link to that so folks can see if they're interested. But then we got deer drinking in the water and going in the water, coon, possum, um,
There's
beaver,
there's
deer.
fox out there. I've
Yeah,
seen evidence of fox and
yeah,
and
me too.
beaver. Um, Interestingly enough, the beaver, where they were finding a decline in population, has actually had a resurgence. Um,
Sweet.
there's several places along the creek and in some of the detention areas where there's evidence of new beaver populations growing and mating and really coming back. So it's really encouraging to see stuff like that.
Then if folks look on the CCERP page on Facebook, you can do a search. I've got some links in there about the importance of beavers. I'll be putting others up. You can search on the internet. Um, it's like some people are finding out how they're really important and they help farmers. Some people are doing research and some farmers think like the beavers are bad, but then they find out the benefits they get from having beavers around, and then they're just instantly sold because um, because naturally enough, if it's in interest in the ecology, it's going to be in the best interest of them because for their farms, they need the geology and ecology, and without that stuff, their farm doesn't exist. So they're very beneficial animals. But
Yeah, and another beneficial animal, just hearing you say that, it kind of reminds me of, the bee situation that we have currently, trying to encourage more pollinators because they really are the root of, the forest ecology and trying to help them. And in fact, we just built yesterday a bee habitat, a native bee, pollinating bee habitat through our most recent Eagle Scout project.
Cool.
We put that in last night on the 100-acre wood. So
nice.
We're pushing forward for trying to help help nature flourish in these green spaces that we have left.
Yeah.
With all the construction and all the clear cutting that we've seen, we need to make sure that the animals can find their way back to the safe places like the 100-acre wood and some of these other areas that we're trying to protect to keep them safe.
And then folks can listen to episodes 2 and 3. Episode 2, I talked to Jim Fordyce, a professor of ecology at the University of Tennessee. That was a very interesting discussion. And then in the third episode, talked to Mark Merriweather, Forderbruggen. We bring up some issues like that. Some ideas folks can just do in their own backyard, like plant certain things to attract the insects and bees, and in some places don't rake up the leaves, leave them there, because that's habitat for some insects, which we need to survive. Like, if you like birds, well, the birds ain't going to be there unless they have something to eat. They need insects and stuff, and berries. So if we leave some of them little micro habitats there, plant some things that they need, the birds and the insects, then it's good for them and it's good for us. Good all around.
Absolutely.
But so that's another thing that y'all are involved in. Eagle Scouts do projects to build bridges. I mean, like, not building bridges metaphorically, but actually building bridges on the trails. And
technically they're boardwalks, and we just built one of those this past weekend as well, because they're very close to the ground. And basically what they do is, there's inside the 100-acre wood, there are some what they call delineated wetlands, which are identified by Army Corps of Engineers as being, a delicate ecology that needs to be protected. So there's specific rules going into how we can still appreciate those areas. One thing, we're not allowed to put things into the ground to recover a mud hole that's become, muddy. We're not allowed to put things into the ground there. We are allowed to bury posts and build boardwalks that go over it. So that's what we do typically. And that's, we've got probably close to 1,000 feet of boardwalk, with the whole trail system, considering several of the ones that we built off the preserve and all of the ones that we've coordinated with scouts to build those on the preserve.
Cool. Yeah, it's one good thing about CCMTB and Scott and Mark and the others that run it. Nice folks, keep things good. I know you are diligent and conscientious about talking to the county and people of the land and making sure you're doing what you can and not doing what you shouldn't, things like that.
Right.
So then if folks, if you have an idea about what you want to do to the trail, don't do it. You need to get in touch with Scott and some others and see what's allowable out there, what's not. Like, we want to keep, for example, at least I think 80% of the land without a trail, maybe 20% trail, 80% without, so that the trees and wildlife.
The deer, for one thing, the wildlife need places and sanctuaries where they can be undisturbed, and that's good for everyone. Now they still interact on the trails, and they still come around. You'll still see animals on the trails and stuff, but they definitely need, like the deer, for instance, they need a place to bed down.
And that's another reason to call out
that's
biker.
Not going to be.
Yeah, another reason.
I like to ring a bell because that's like an unnatural sound to them.
Right. Yeah.
So it keeps squirrels away. I've heard stories of squirrels getting caught in bike wheels, and it's not good for anybody involved. So whenever I see a squirrel, I always just ring my bell, and they always jump away because they recognize that as not a sound that they want to be close to.
Oh, cool.
That's one of the more helpful things that I use.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, we definitely need to, make sure that we're not over what we call trail density. There's just a right balance between appreciating, the woods and having so much overlap that there's, I think right now we have a pretty good trail system as far as, reaching all of the different little scenes that we have. There's some swamp scenes that I find incredibly beautiful, and the different types of plants and animals that exist there. And then, we have some that are, more foresty that, really, really thick, yopons and, lots of thick oak trees and lots of pine trees and other areas like that where, then we have a couple of overlook spots. So I think that in general we have a good level of diversity with the trails and appreciating all this stuff. And obviously there's always someone that wants to build something, change something, add something. We can accommodate most of those things as long as they don't prevent everybody else from appreciating it, right? So, there's not going to be any motocross jumps, just simply because motorized vehicles aren't allowed on the trails by anyone. But if folks want to, some riders want to build a berm in some places, we can definitely accommodate that because it doesn't get in anybody else's way.
Yeah.
No one else, might use it, but no one else, it doesn't bother anyone else. So, we can usually accommodate those types of requests.
Cool. Any other rules of taking care of the trails, working on them that folks need to know?
Well, I think, and this goes into protecting the ecology, but, number one thing is not to disturb the wildlife. Don't cut roots, don't cut the trees. Don't pick the flowers, leave them there for everyone to appreciate. This is where we go to, to recreate. This is where we go to see those things. If there's a unique looking flower, then just leave it there for everybody to see and appreciate.
And then you can grow some stuff in your backyard. It's like people got a backyard, a front yard.
Absolutely.
Start doing that.
Sure.
Start changing the stupid rules of subdivisions that a lot of people have so that you can have natural areas and gardens and stuff instead of just a bunch of stupid grass that requires a lot of water. But what?
Yeah, I'm actually doing that this year. The section of my yard between the sidewalk and the road, I just buried a bunch of wildflower seeds in there, so I'm just going to let that flourish.
Nice.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what it looks like in springtime.
Yeah. Or folks I
don't care what the HOA says.
Yeah, they need to change, please. It's for the good of everything. And
absolutely.
And Mark Meriwether Vorderbruggen, I don't know if he came up with the idea or he got it from someone else, but I think one thing he recommended is just keep a bird bath in the backyard, and they're going to come and they're going to naturally leave seeds. So you got all these local seeds they'll leave, and you can just maybe pull out the plants you don't want and leave the natural plants you do, and they're native, they're used to the local soil, the local climate, so they're going to require less care. But and what are some of the rules of the road you have that you talk about besides not wearing headphones that keep you from hearing anything? What are the rules of the road?
Well, like I said, just respecting the wildlife, respecting the other trail users, understanding that, in the triangle of yielding the right of way, horses are on top, bikes yield to both pedestrians and equestrians, and pedestrians should yield to horses. Now, when we say yield, it means when I'm riding and I see a walker or a horse in front of me, I'm going to give them ample time to comfortably move aside so I can pass. Or if we're traveling at approximately the same rate, then we can just both use the trail at the same time and there's no need to pass. But just being courteous when that exchange occurs is probably the number one thing that's going to keep us tied to the community.
Now it's important, like people can get out and walk, ride their horse or bike, and doing that, being aware of your environment helps you get skills you can use in other areas. So pay attention, like look ahead, look behind, listen. If you got something on, I know there's been some times where I'm running on the trail and I can hear someone behind me, and I don't want a biker to have to stop because it's like a pain in the rear end to stop and then to start your bike again. So I move off the trail, keep running, or else stand on the side, let them go by. Or if I'm going against bike traffic because it's one way, then I'm making sure I'm looking up ahead, looking through the shrubbery, seeing what's going on. If I see a biker, then I'll yell out, and sometimes I just yell out around corners anyway, runner. But I want to make sure I'm seeing what's going on and getting out of the way so they can continue unimpeded. Because as I say, it's like can be a pain. But I think some people might be a biker upset about horses, but I think it's important to remember that if you stop your bicycle and start again, you might not like it psychologically, but then actually that's something you should be doing more because it challenges you. It's something you don't like, therefore it takes more control, and it's like a good training tool to help you.
Sure, and like we said earlier, like we said earlier, there's always going to be, jerks in any group of people. And I just try to stress upon everybody that rides a bike as part of CCMTB just to be patient and understanding. One of the things, like I said earlier, that motivates me to work on the trail so much is seeing families out riding together. Now, when I come across, I'm out there riding, and I have to preface this by saying I'm not one of those riders that's, logging my miles per hour. I'm logging it, but I really don't care what the number is. Mm-hmm. I'm really out there for the time, not hey, I've got to get 11 miles and I have to be 14 miles per hour. That's not how I ride. But let's say I like to ride slow and appreciate the scenery and stuff like that. But there are those guys out there that are really trying to push themselves or really trying to prepare for a race or mm-hmm. Really meet a physical fitness goal, and I respect that. Mm-hmm. But I definitely don't want to get in that person's way, but I also wouldn't want that person to, take their personal fitness goals over the safety of another trail user. So I just always try to stress patience. It's fine. So what? You're not going to get a PR this day, but when I'm riding and I see a family riding together, and the kids are always, it's just so awesome to see them out on the trails and enjoying themselves. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do anything, to discourage that kid from riding their bike. And, I just always want to, hey, great looking bike, keep going, and, just encourage them, and I can be patient enough to wait until the end of that trail and let them really have like a good memory of, hey, I met this stranger on the trail and they complimented my bike and it was a good day. Right. So, that's always fulfilling for me.
And then don't be all short term, because you could see those people again in the future, and one day you might need their help.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen it 1,000 times where, somebody drops their wallet on the phone and somebody turns it in, mm-hmm. Or their phone or some expensive piece of equipment that falls off. And it happens all the time where a friend of mine keeps forgetting his front wheel at the trail, and the parks department will pick it up, and cool. He'll post on the group, hey, did somebody by chance pick up the front wheel? And the parks guys are on our group too, so they'll chime in like, hey, it's over here at Maskey Park, come by and pick it up.
Nice.
That's happened a couple of times, so it's really nice to see stuff like that.
And then be careful around horses, because horses can be flighty. And if you're a little upset about having to stop for a horse, that could result in someone being injured or killed. That is a very serious thing. You need to take the horse very seriously and really respect it.
And I've got some really good tips for moving around horses, especially for somebody that's on a bike. What we typically do is we'll dismount the bike, stop, and for the most part, the horse rider stops too. So they're going to let us pass. But this is where the patience comes in, where you stop, you say, hey, can we pass? And they'll say yes. So what I like to do, just to make the horse more comfortable, is I take off my helmet, I dismount my bike, I talk to it, I click, I make sounds that it's used to hearing, I whistle a little bit, speak in a very calm voice and try to help calm it down. I mean, I'm this weird looking robot thing with a big thing on my head, and I'm pushing this thing that makes all kind of clicky noises, and it looks like some weird, voodoo machine. And I always put the bike between myself and the horse for one thing, and just slowly walk around it while speaking calmly. And I've never had an incident where a horse got spooked. Actually, there's one part of our trail that at the end of it is leased out to some people that have some horses in stalls. And one time I found one of their miniature horses out on the trails, and it was very scared. It was a miniature horse, but still, I would not like to be on the receiving end of that horse's kick. So I was able to safely calm it down just a little bit and tie it off to a tree so it was out of the way for any riders coming behind me. And then I went over to the stall and let them know where the horse was, so they were able to retrieve the horse.
Cool.
And it was probably, they said it had been out there for a couple of days, so it was probably scared.
Wow.
I'm sure it was hungry.
Poor thing.
Yeah, so, yep. But it got back home safely.
Nice. Thanks. So, how many miles are the trails? And where do they start and end?
Well, there are a lot of miles to the trails, and it depends on your route, and it depends on how far you want to go. But I would say independent, like if you could get easily 10 miles without crossing over the same path twice. And that's just our trail system. So the other interesting thing is, for a while we would either do 2 laps if we wanted to get more miles, or sometimes 3. And then we have another trail that's nearby called Cypress Wood. It's just a little bit to the east of us, about 6 miles as the crow flies.
Okay.
And what we did was we found a way to connect the 2 trails.
Cool.
And so there's what we call the connector trail, or the Dammitt trail, that goes in between the 2 trails.
Yeah.
They call it that because there was one section along a pipeline that was just completely blocked off by trees. And I just went in and I found the route and I cut it out one day. So
cool.
Since then it's just kind of informally been called the Dammitt Trail.
That's funny.
But yeah, there's a way that you can ride all the way over to the other trail. If you do both of these trails and all the connector trails, it adds up to about 35 miles, I believe.
Wow.
There's also some more trails that are further west of us that are mainly horse trails but can be ridden by bike. And if you do all of that, it's almost 40. Now, most of this is on the trail, and there's only very little pavement, so it's really relaxing to be out. And that ride takes anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. So imagine just being on the bicycle in the woods, for 4 to 6 hours, just out there enjoying the scenery and enjoying the environment.
Yeah, it's making me relax already. And so the CCMTB goes from Grant and Cypress Creek down to 249?
Pretty much. And like I said, there is a few miles of trail that's west of Grant. But for the most part, what we cover pretty much in our group rides is going to be between Grant Road, along the creek, all the way over to 249.
And then you got a connector trail going down to the Cypress Wood trails?
Yeah, the connector trail goes under 249, and it incorporates Kickarillo Mission Preserve. It also includes, the back part of Meyer Park and the back part of Collins Park. And Collins Park is where Cypress Wood trails are. and that's at the intersection, to give you just a frame of reference, Cypress Wood and Spring Stubner, or Stubner Airline. So on a map, you can see that the distance is pretty significant, and it's a pretty good ride.
Cool. All right, I gotta tutor someone in SAT in like 9 minutes, so as much as I'd like to continue talking, and this is a great conversation, I better like end this conversation and get ready for that guy I got to work with. But any last words, Scott?
Sounds
for the folks.
No, that's pretty much it. But if anybody wants to get involved, the best way to do it is to join the Facebook group and watch for the events and watch for a call for help. That's really how we organize everything. And keep picking up litter.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, so get out, enjoy the trails, meet Scott, talk to some people on CCMTB, and they'll, be more than willing to take you out on some trails and show you the area and give you tips for riding. Very friendly, a lot of good people. So cool. So thanks, Scott. Much appreciated. Great conversation.
Thank you, Michael.
About
Thanks
the area and the trails. Yeah, thank you. So hope you enjoyed that, folks. Keep up with stuff on CCMTB and on our CCERP, and get out, enjoy it, take care of our area, give it some TLC. Hope you enjoyed this, as I say, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye, folks.